So guys, this is the book that we're going to be reading, starting with chapter 1, and I'm just going to read and just one chapter at a time. Please write in your comments, and I will review them. I will read them later. So we're starting out with chapter 1. Wisdom is the principal thing. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get understanding. Forbes magazine columnist wrote an article entitled "The Top 8 Things People Desperately Desire But Can't Seem to Attain," based on the responses from a survey of her subscribers and community. Those 8 things were: 1, happiness; money; freedom; peace; joy; balance; fulfillment; confidence. We all wish for things to make our lives more satisfying and prosperous. Sometimes attaining those desires can be elusive. That was certainly the case for those who participated in the above survey. But what if you were given the opportunity to have whatever you wished in life? What would you ask for? A newly crowned king in ancient times was given that very opportunity by God. You would think he might have asked for a long life, for honor, for riches, or the destruction of his enemies. That would have been conventional thinking about how a new monarch could immediately solidify and expand his reign. But instead, he asked for something that would enable him to obtain everything else he would need in life. One version of this story says he asked for wisdom and knowledge. The other says he asked for an understanding heart or a discerning heart. These are the same requests in slightly different expressions. This king's chief desire was to have the ability to govern his people judiciously. He needed to be able to distinguish right from wrong and good from evil, even in circumstances when it was difficult to tell which was which. For that, he needed wisdom. Everything else would take care of itself. Because of this humble response, the king was granted not only wisdom, but also wealth and renown. But it was a heart for wisdom that led him to that place. That young ruler's name was King Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived. What prompted Solomon, at the height of his newfound power, to ask for wisdom and discernment? Solomon had internalized the compelling advice that his father, King David, had taught him since he was a child. Get wisdom. Get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she will promote you. She will bring you honor, and when you embrace her. In essence, Solomon asked for the ability to discern himself, other people, and the world around him, so he could make the best decisions, plans, strategies in life. A longing for wisdom filled his thinking and influenced his lifestyle. That is what all of us need. We need it, people. Everything else will be taken care of if we prioritize this, the principal thing. Our most important resource. Solomon's answer to the momentous question presented to him reminds me of the list of top traits found in many books and articles on leadership. Here's the list of some of these traits. Results-oriented, visionary, has a clear strategy, delegates, resolves conflict, decisive, trustworthy, honest, communicates well, accountable, optimist, inspires others, team player, practices discipline, prioritizes, develops staff, confident, committed, creative, cultivates skill, innovates, able to adapt and change. These are all significant characteristics. But for leaders and people in all realms of life, exercises wisdom is the greatest trait. Wisdom is better than money, power, skill, facts, knowledge, vision, or physical assets because it is the wellspring of guidance and answers. Often, a wisdom principle doesn't just give us one answer to one question, but can be applied in many contexts. It has been said that the primary difference between winners and losers is their perspective. The best chance for true success in any arena or realm, whether business, government, community, nonprofit, education, church, family, or personal life, is to develop a perspective that will enhance, expand upon, and take us beyond what we already bring to the table. That unique outlook is a wisdom-driven perspective. Power Principles, this book. Let me do this. Okay. Power Principles was written to highlight this key to personal, relational, and professional success that is so often overlooked today. A wisdom-driven perspective gives us the ability to deal astutely in the affairs of life and to achieve the success God intends for us to have. Most people think of wisdom, if they think about it at all, as an equivalent of knowledge. Others think of it as an aspect of emotional or institution or a kind of sixth sense, about how to conduct their lives. Because of these mindsets, they use their knowledge and emotions as substitutes for wisdom rather than as complements to it, not realizing that they are hindering their potential, effectiveness, and fulfillment in life. A man in Boston was hosting a friend who was a Chinese scholar and philosopher. He met this friend at the train station, then rushed over to the subway. As they ran through the subway station, the man panted to his guest. He said, "If we run and catch the next train, we can save 3 minutes." The Chinese philosopher replied, "And what significant things should we do with the 3 minutes we're saving?" In many ways, we constantly seem to be trying to save ourselves 3 minutes in an attempt to radically improve our lives. And knowing that we have a mass of information and knowledge at the click of a computer mouse or the touch of a smartphone makes us feel secure that we can find the answers we seek and the keys for living better. Yet, knowledge is simply facts and information, while wisdom is knowing the best thing to do with the information we have. It is making the right application of our knowledge for the highest benefits and effectiveness. We can gather a myriad of facts and obtain as much information as we want, but these won't help us sort out issues of life if we don't know the right thing to do or the next step to take. Wisdom is often thought of as something extremely delicate, intangible. But what I appreciate most about wisdom is its complete practicality. Wisdom enables us to assimilate information, understand how various elements work in relation to one another, and put our knowledge into practice. Wisdom is an action word. It knows what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And then it follows up and does it. Wisdom gets the job done. Here's a quote. And we just did that one. The majority of people seek knowledge without wisdom. And then they can't understand why they aren't doing well or why they can't move to the next stage of growth in their businesses, finances, or relationships. Only when we understand and apply the corresponding wisdom to our knowledge can we break free of frustrating cycles that have kept us spinning our wheels and move forward. Wisdom enables us to advance to the new levels. Many of us have questions such as, I know I do, how can I know my true purpose in life? How can I be a better leader? What is the next step for my business? How can I help my organization grow? Should I be training for a different job or vocation? How should I deal with this relationship problem? How can I live a more balanced life? How can I help my children prepare for an uncertain future? These are all questions that require wisdom, not knowledge alone, to answer. This doesn't mean that information and knowledge aren't necessary, but they are just not enough. Knowledge is power, the saying goes. Yet wisdom is the true power because, again, it tells us how to use the knowledge we have gained to the great effect. The second approach to living that many people follow is to function primarily according to their emotions rather than stepping back to discern the best course to take. In this case, knowledge as well as wisdom usually takes a backseat. Some people may be using wisdom in one area of their lives while being derailed by their emotions in other areas. Motivators like fear, guilt, desire have a strong influence. Fear can make us procrastinate about pursuing a good opportunity. Unresolved guilt can cause us to feel unworthy of success or healthy relationships. The thrilling prospect of a new business deal can lead us to rush into an association without first considering all of the ramifications. When we lose sight of the value of wisdom, or when we have never understood its worth, we overlook the primary source of principles for improving our lives, our families, and our relationships and our vocations. We miss out on a wealth of practical help for living, working, and interacting with others. Wisdom reveals to us a deeper picture of things. It enables us to have a life that is purposeful and satisfying as well as successful, utilizing the contributions of both our knowledge and our healthy emotions while keeping them in balance. When King David gave his advice to Solomon, he said, get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get an understanding. How do we get wisdom in order to apply it to our lives? To begin, we must recognize that knowledge, understanding, and wisdom are related as three sequential steps. Step one, to gain knowledge, we accumulate facts and information. Step two is to develop understanding. We assimilate the facts and perceive how various facts and information correspond to one another. To understand is to discern, to comprehend, and to interpret. Very few people intentionally take this step, so they remain in the knowledge level. But as we collect information, we should begin to integrate those bits of data and to consider their implications. Knowledge can help us to take things apart and understand them. But wisdom enables us to relate knowledge and truth to everyday life. Here's step 3. Step 3 is to live in wisdom. We put our knowledge and understanding into active use. As I described earlier, wisdom is knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and then follow up in doing it. It is the ability to live life skillfully. A lot of people know what to do, but they don't know how to do it. Wisdom involves the know-how. Wisdom is deeper than knowledge because wisdom is as wisdom does. Wisdom is as wisdom does. We need discernment in order to understand what life is truly about, combined with the motivation and discipline to live life wisely. For example, you may have talent, but not be using it to the best way. You may have knowledge, but not applying it most effectively. You may have an idea with tremendous potential, but not know how to develop it. We've all been there. You may have much love to give, but be investing it in unhealthy relationships. Ooh. Wisdom, the combination of knowledge, understanding, and action, produces a strategy, and a strategy produces success. Few people today are asking the question, am I living my life according to wisdom? If presented with the same offer Solomon was given, they would not request wisdom because they do not recognize its supreme value. We make so many unnecessary mistakes and create so many problems for ourselves by not stopping to consider what would be the wisest choice or the most astute course of action for our present circumstances or for the future. Think of some of the mistakes you have made in the past. Do you wish you had known better at the time? Hand raise. Or had acted upon a better way that you knew? Hand raise. By learning and applying wisdom principles and by developing a lifestyle of pursuing wisdom, we can avoid many errors and missteps. Could it be that you have been trying to sustain yourself on information or emotions alone? You may have never considered the vital role of wisdom in your life before now. Or perhaps you already have a good understanding of wisdom principles and had every good intention of living according to them. But you've been sidetracked because of the busyness, the stresses, and the distractions of life. It's easier to live on autopilot than to stop to consider what is really directing our lives, especially when we don't get much reinforcement in wise living from the world around us. The general attitude in our society is to look for the quick fixes, not necessarily the best or the strongest or the most long-lasting solutions, but wisdom is like a weight-bearing beam in a house. You can't remove it or weaken it without jeopardizing the entire structure. In Power Principles, our book, For the ones of you that just come in, this is the one we're reviewing. In Power Principles, the benefits of a wisdom-driven life. You'll learn how to establish wisdom as a solid framework for your life as we explore how wisdom shows us the best way to live. Wisdom helps us to know the next step to take. Wisdom brings peace, perspective, and new opportunities. Wisdom can be applied to every realm of our lives. Wisdom is not only to be received for ourselves, but it is also to be shared with others. Wisdom is like a trusted counselor, guiding us to make the best decisions, cautioning us against mistakes and failures, and enabling us to review our progress and to make good plans for the future. Let's follow King David's advice. Get wisdom. Get understanding. Let wisdom be your most important resource. Let wisdom be your foundation and framework for living. Let wisdom show you the best way to respond in each situation and guide you throughout your life. It's the principal thing. Now we're at the review here at the end, and we're not going to do chapter 2. We're going to just do chapter 1, one chapter at a time. The benefits of a wisdom-driven life. Here they are. Wisdom gives us the ability to deal astutely in the affairs of life. Wisdom makes the best application of our knowledge and information. Wisdom enables us to avoid mistakes and mishaps. We just said wisdom produces a strategy, and a strategy produces success. Now, applying wisdom. Question: what is the best advice you were ever given? Why do you consider it the best? Let me see. Best advice I was ever given. There's more than one, but I can remember when my husband and I received our marriage counseling, my late husband, and I was a little upset with the pastor because I thought he should have given us more information. But he simply said, and he used the scripture, don't go to bed angry. Don't go to bed angry. Resolve your situations if you can. Don't go to bed angry. And we practice that. My husband is in heaven now. But we practice that. We also, under that realm, we made it a point to not degrade each other. So we wouldn't degrade each other as husband and wife. And this was what we did now, not talking about anybody else. And we didn't swear at each other. We wouldn't do any swear words. We got angry, but we would part ways. As a matter of fact, I talked more than he did, and then he would just walk away. And I would be furious. And what reason? He said he was an athlete. So he said, well, I find that it's kind of hard for you to argue by yourself. So once we cool down, he'd go play basketball and something come back. We sit and we could kind of hash out whatever was going on. So I thought that was very good. Very good information there. See if I take another. My grandfather, I come from a long line of ministers, y'all. My grandfather said to me, don't always be in your neighbor's house. Every time they open their door, don't let your face be the first one they see. He said, help me remember it, Lord. He said, let them be happy to see you come instead of being happy to see you leave. Yeah, something like that. Because if you're always there and they're like, oh my God, here she comes again, just on and on and on. Every time they open their door. So he said, don't do that. Just don't always be there. He said, if you can't find anything to do, he told me to read a book. He said, do something, but don't always do that. Okay. I guess I know there's more. Did you think of one? Somebody typed in one of theirs? Let me see. Wisdom. Somebody gave you a wisdom. Like, Grandma and the folks of old used to give us wisdom nuggets. Y'all know that. Okay, let me see. Well, take care of your health. They told us to do that. I remember doing that. Oh, a huge one that I was raised by. And it's a scripture that my mother lived by. And I saw her actually do it. It was Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through 6. It said, children, honor your mother and your father. That your days will be long upon the land. It's the first commandment with promise. Honor your mother and your father. So we were taught to honor our parents, to not disrespect them, to honor them, and they say, and in the Lord. So seniors as well. We would honor seniors, honor adults. Yeah. It told us to do that because we would be heaping up blessings for ourselves and, extending our lives. So, we did that. And there's tons of other things that I'll probably think of some more as we go through the book. Okay, so the next applying wisdom is, did you follow through and apply this advice? Yes. I tried to the best of my ability. I definitely tried not to be at people's house every time they opened their door. I didn't want my face to be the first one that they saw. And I definitely respect my seniors, my adults. I do. And honor taking care of my health. As you see me exercise and try to eat right and try to do the things that I know to do. So, those are some things. This was one my grandfather told me. Oh my goodness. You know how people always have disturbances going on? There's always some drama. So, it's a little gross. Please bear with me. We were in Florida walking along the road. And we were talking. And he said, you see that dog poop over there? And I go, yeah, Grandpa. And it was kind of been there for a few days. So, He said, okay, you don't smell it, do you? And I said, nope. He said, okay, I didn't do it. But he made a point. He said, if you take a stick and go stir in it, it'll start to stink. So he was trying to say you don't start stirring up mess. Just don't start stirring up disturbances amongst people. And you're always going to somebody stirring up something, gossiping. He said he talked a lot about dogs. We had dogs. He said the dog that carries a bone will also bring a bone. And so I'm going like, okay. He said, well, the person that says something about you, if they talk about you, if they're talking about you, no, I'm sorry, I got it all wrong. Help me out. If they're talking to you about somebody else, they will talk about you to somebody else. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So in other words, the same way I bring information, I'll also take information. So there are some things there. I know you got many of them. Please, if you think of something, write it in, please. Okay, let's get this done. So did you follow up, and why not? So, and if so, what difference did it make in your life? I think it made a great difference in my life. Now, did I never get into something, but I was never into drama much and fights and things of that sort. I found a way to, it just wasn't something that I'm very well capable of. When I was in the world of taking care of myself, I had no problem with that. But I just didn't see that was a life that I wanted to lead. So a lot of people do stuff like that. And with my marriage, I saw my brothers and their wives have a lot of stuff. So I didn't want that. So yeah, definitely. Okay. What is the principal thing in your life today? The principal thing in my life today is figuring out how I want to be remembered. when I'm gone, what will I be remembered for? What will be my legacy? And so far, one of the things I've done an album, and I want to get that album done into written music. I don't know if there's a book coming. The Lord only knows that. But I want to encourage as many people as I can, be it through social media, be it through doing live concerts, when I'm doing worship leader, doing teachings, whatever, just to uplift, encourage, or try to help someone better their lives in any way that I can, whatever I can have to offer and never tear down. That's my goal for the remainder of my days on this earth. Just want to do the will of God. I want to build up the kingdom of God. I want to travel, and hopefully that's looking like it's going to happen. It's on my dream board that hopefully I'm going to get a trip to the motherland this year, 2023. That's something I'm looking forward to, and I know I can learn something there. So what is the principal thing in your life today? Does it support or detract from living according to wisdom? Actually, it's support. It's support wisdom. And my goal, the reason I'm reading this book, is to learn as much about wisdom as I possibly can, and it's scripturally based, because I made a lot of wrong choices in my life. We all have. I've learned from them. And but if we can kind of learn now, and we're maturing, some of us, I am, and hopefully we can not keep going around and around and around, same old thing all the time. So guys, the next time we will review, it will be chapter 2. Please share with somebody. Please leave a comment or something if you got anything out of the chapter. Please do. I'm not the best reader in the world, but I try to do my best, and I love reading books. I love books. We will be talking about wisdom leads us to our purpose. And if you already know your purpose, you already know your gift, please, that's great. Please be here and let's talk about it. Let's share it. We'll read through that chapter, okay? So this is your girl, Queen C, no longer bound. I'll see you right here next time. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming in.